Okay, there's the first page. We already did this. There you go. Take a look. There's the formula. Take a gander. Scroll down. There's the work. Next problem. Okay. Sucks for whoever wants to watch that at home. There we go. Okay. So, should we do one more just for kicks and giggles so for those people at home can see one? All right. Here we go. Let's make this 64x cubed minus 1. Let's first off set him equal to 0. That's our goal, is we're going to go ahead and solve. Okay, so let's put him in a difference of cube formula. Okay? What is the cube root of 64x cubed? 4x, right? What is the cube root of 1? 1. Does everybody understand where that came from? Right? Take the cube roots. Then, what do? Square the first number. 4x times 4x is 16x squared. You should be saying 16x squared times 4x gets me 64x cubed. Okay? When I do negative 1 and I square it, what do I get? 1. So we got that part, but we're missing our middle. Multiply them, 1 times 4. We get 4x, and then you just do the opposite sign of what's in the middle of the binomial. So because he's a negative 1, or 4x minus 1, what's going to be here? Plus 4x. Okay? Any questions on that? You've got to memorize this. If you don't, you're going to get messed up. Okay? It's worth some points. I'm telling you right now. Know it. Okay? Can't forget about it. You've got to do it. So what's this guy? What's the value makes him 0? Doing it every step so people understand what's happening. X is a 4. And we could have got that just from here by adding 1 divided by 64, taking the cube root. Whoop, X is a 4. Okay, that's the easy one. The hard one people have a hard time finding is via the other part. Okay? So, as we go here we go. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared. So that's 16 minus 4ac all over 2a, which is 32. This is 16 minus 64, which is 48. Okay, this one's yours. You ready? You're going to help me out. What's in 48? What's in 24? What's in 12? What's in 6? Okay, I'm done, right? Do I have buddies? I got a buddy here and a buddy here, huh? Everybody see that? Yes? Okay, so I have negative 4 plus or minus. My buddies are 2 times 2. So 4i, what's left over? 3, square root of 3, all over 32. What do they all have in common? 4, right? They have some higher to 2. They do have a 2, but then you'd have to do it one more time. They do have a 4, so it'd be negative 1 plus or minus I root 3 over 8. There's 1. There's 2, excuse me, and there's your 3. Okay? Any questions there? Okay. The other lesson that you guys are going to be having today is, once again, factor by grouping. Sometimes we're going to have to do that. I'm not going to go over that because we've had a lot of those. Okay. But one thing here I want to talk about is when we were dividing by 4, I saw a lot of people drop this term. What's negative 4 divided by negative 4? You still got to have that term there, right? Does that make sense? Sometimes you just got to think about it a little deeper. Is it being the same representation? Okay? All right. Here's the next one we're going to do today. Okay, we kind of hit him once before at the beginning of the school year when we were just factoring. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you what we call U substitution. Okay? Let me call U x squared. And the reason why I'm doing that is sometimes right now, you guys are stuck saying, I don't know what to do. But watch if I do that. Isn't x squared, x to the fourth, excuse me, x squared squared? Does that make sense to everybody? So therefore, isn't x to the fourth the same thing as u squared? Because that's x squared squared. Makes sense to everybody? Yes? Minus 13u plus 36. We should all know how to do that, can't we? Which is just factoring. What's the factors of 36 that add to be 13? If you don't know, let's do the chart. 136, that adds to be 37. 218, that adds to be 20. 312, that's close, that's 15. What's next? 4 and 9, that adds to be 13. Those are the buddies, right? So then I just factor him. Oops. So that's u minus 4 and u minus 9. Right? But who's u? Who did we say u was? X squared. So now, instead of this, what would this read? X squared minus 4 and x squared minus 9. What are these called? Difference of squares. What do difference of squares always come out to be? Conjugate pairs, right? So this becomes x minus 2, x plus 2. This guy becomes x minus 3, x plus 3 equals 0. So what's all the values that make him 0? 2, negative 2, 3, and negative 2. Which one? This from right here to here. This is called a difference of squares, goes into a conjugate pair. All right. You guys want me to do another one of them, or are we okay? One more? Okay, first off, I always factor. What do they have in common? They all have an x in common, don't they? How many zeros should I have? 5, right? Because it's raised to the 5th power. Once again, what would be my end behavior? Right? Because of the degree and the leading coefficient, right? Okay, because you're going to have to remember that. So with that being the case, they all have an x. I'm left with x to the 4th plus 7x squared minus 8. Now, do you have to do u substitution? No, but hopefully you guys can understand this is just like a quadratic. Because notice this is something, and if I square them, it becomes this idea, right? Sometimes this might be, what if this is this? Is that the same idea? Could I factor him? Is this the same as a quadratic? Why? If I square him, what do I get? Get him, don't I? You guys see how this and this are very similar if I just use a u substitution. Okay? Okay. So, what are the factors of negative 8 that get me to be a positive 7? We need a positive 8 and a negative 1. Okay? What's the value that makes him 0? He is just 0 in himself, right? What can this go down into be? This is called a difference of squares. And what a difference of squares going to be? Conjugate pairs. So what their zeros? What's the value makes him 0? 1. What's the value makes him 0? So far we have 3 of our zeros, don't we? I got 0, 1, negative 1. Can this guy factor? Factors of 8 to get me to be 0. I have 2 options to solve him. Either A, I can come over here, set him equal to 0. Take the square root. Remember when I take a square root, what do I need to do? I saw a lot of people on your belt quiz miss this, huh? Plus or minus square root of negative 8, which is plus or minus 2i root 2. Is what's in 8? 2 and 4. 2. Okay. So notice how many answers are here? 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you're solving, should you be able to have all 5 or however many answers there are? You should. Okay? Now, this one has an example on here. It talks about, over here and just think of one. Okay? We have some consecutive integers. What are integers? Give me an example of an integer. 4. So what's consecutive integers? 4, 5, 6. Or negative 1, 0, 1. Does that make sense? So I have 3 consecutive integers. Their product is 120. What does product mean? Answer of a multiplication. So something times together should equal 120. But let's just write some down. I'm going to write 7, 8, 9. Okay? 7, 8, 9. Well, do I know what my first consecutive number is? Yes or no? Well, up here I know it's 7, but in general, do I know it in my problem? So I'm going to call him x. Well, how does x get to the next number in our consecutive integer? How does 7 get to 8? We add 1. So if I called him x, what's our next integer? X plus 1. What's our next integer? X plus 1, which would be x plus 2. Does that make sense how you write consecutive integers? So I know that x times x plus 1 times x plus 2 equals this. How would you solve this? Any ideas? Nobody wants to think with me. I could distribute it through. That's awesome. And then what would I have to do? Subtract the 120 over, wouldn't I? Because I want everything on one side. What I would do is get my calculator out. In this, I'd put y1. In this, I'd put y2. And then what do I look for? Where they intersect. Does that make sense? Remember, where's intersection? I'll show you if we have time. Here we go. I'll put it up. I don't know what time we got at class, so I'm just kind of iffy in it. So as this is coming up, we're going to pass off.
On 4 minutes.
4 minutes, guys. Odds today, guys. Odds, by the way. Or evens, I don't care. All right, here we go. So, y equals, I'm going to clear what I have here. Okay? So I have x times x plus 1, and I think that was the next thing, correct? Times by what else? X plus 2. Oops, not 12, Dingleberry. Okay, what are we going to do in y2? 120. That means they're going to intersect. Okay? Now my window, I might need to check it. Well, for me, I have an adequate window because I'm negative 200 to 200. So I'm large enough. Okay? But you might not. How do I know 200 is large enough? Because I'm going to hit it at 120. Negative 10 might be okay to 10. I'm going to hit the graph and see what it looks like. But sometimes you might have to maneuver your window, don't you? Here it comes. Do I see the intersection? Okay, so where do we go? Second, calculate or trace, which is the calculation button, which is number 5. Okay, it says first curve. See how it's highlighted on the blue? I hit enter. Now it's on the other curve. I hit enter. And it says to guess, but I don't care. There it is. What value is x then? 4. So what's the next number? 5. What's the next number? 6. Does 4 times 5, what's that? 20 times 6? Does that equal 120? Does those 3 consecutive inter products equal 120? Okay, what if it says, when does the volume of this box equal 1,000 meters? Put in its volume. Put in 1,000. See where it intersects. Does that make sense? Everybody with me on that? Okay, once again, I will be working on a review so that you guys can see what my work is. Now, should you rely upon my work? It's just there for you to check your work to make sure that you're doing adequate work, right? Make sure you're not doing wrong steps. Okay, use it as a tool. Don't use it as a crutch. Right? There's a difference. Any questions? Yes, sir. The rest of the pink packet, you should have worked on that a little bit, though. Okay.